and girls, and welcome to Uncle Tubz' teeny tiny house book club. Welcome. Oh, the macaw! The macaw is up! The macaw! He's getting better about. All right, let's sing him the ABC song. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my... All right, everybody. Let's see. We have the macaw. He's sleeping. Be quiet. We know how he gets. And the only one in the studio, in the house today, is Timothy the monster. Hello, Timothy. Timothy loves this book. It's his favorite book, right? It's called Where the Wild Things Are. And out in the audience, we have Braden, Kaylee, and Maddie. And I know Maddie loves this book. Hey, Maddie, how are you? I love this book too growing up. I loved it. Now we're going to play a game. It's different than the questions, okay? The questions we're going to play a new game. This one is about vocabulary words. And you guys at the end have to decide which vocabulary word was said the most in Where the Wild Things Are. So I'm going to give you 5 vocabulary words. If you have a piece of paper and pen, you can write them down, and then you can keep a tally, all right? You can keep a tally, and then we can guess on which one was the worst. I have the answers, though. And then we're going to go over the lessons that this book teaches. And we're also going to go over the vocabulary words, because I didn't know one of them. I had no idea. So, we all learned something here. All right. The first word is mischief. Mischief, M-I-S-C-H-I-E-F, all right? The next word is wild. Wild. Now, that's why Timothy loves it, right, Timothy? Wild, W-I-L-D. Next one is terrible. Terrible, T-E-R-R-I-B-L-E. The next word, this was a word I knew, but I didn't know how to spell it. I thought it was something else. It's G-N-A-S-H-E-D, nashed. The G is silent. G-N-A-S-H-E-D. And this word, I had no idea of what it was. Rumpus. Rumpus. R-U-M-P-U-S. What a funny word. All right. Well, Timothy, I'm going to have you go back here, because I know I've read this to you before. You're going to stay back here, if that's okay. All right? Oh, Timothy, don't go to sleep on me now. There you go. All right. Where the Wild Things Are. This book is over 50 years old. Story and pictures by Maurice Sendak. Look at that, everybody. I love this book. Where the Wild Things Are. Oh, look at that, Timothy. It looks like maybe your relatives are. That's why you love this book. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind. Oh, there's mischief. Put a tally. And another. Oh, look at him chasing the dog. His mother called him, "Wild thing!" Oh, there's another tally. And Max said, "I'll eat you up." So he was sent to bed without eating anything. Oh, poor Max. He can't get into mischief now. That very night in Max's room, a forest grew. Wow. And grew. And grew until his ceiling hung with vines, and walls became the world all around. I love it. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through night and day. Uh-oh. Well, it looks kind of like the macaw. and in and out of weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are. That's right, this book was made into a movie, that's right. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. Lots of terribles there. Till Max said, "Be still," and tamed them with the magic trick. Wow. Of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once, and they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. And made him king of all the wild things. Wow, there they are. Look at that. Oh, there we go. Sorry. And now, cried Max, let the wild rumpus start. Rumpus, And there they were. Rumpus is a noun there. We're going to go over rumpus. Look at them having fun. Now stop, Max said, and sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all wild things, was lonely and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. Then, all around from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat. So he gave up being king of where the wild things are. Lots of wilds. But the wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. We love you so." And Max said, "No." The wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye. Kind of sad. And sailed back over a year and in and out of weeks and through a day and into the night of his very own room where he found his supper waiting for him. Oh, it was in the room. His mommy probably put it there. And it was still hot. I love that book. I love it. So Where the Wild Things Are, one of my favorite books. All right, let's go over the words. Mischief. Mischief is a noun. Mischief means to misbehave or to be playful, but it's usually getting into trouble. Wild is an adjective. Means not to be civilized. I had a wild beard. Look, I shaved. Speaking of that, look at this. These are my razors. And I have to clean the razors. But if you're a young person, you shouldn't touch these things at all. They're very, very dangerous. You can cut yourself. Uncle Tubz has done that. So that's just a side note. Only the adults, young adults can use this. And when you're old enough, you ask the people who have done it before to show you how to do it. All right? All right. I just wanted to give you that lesson because my beard as a leprechaun was getting wild. So I needed to shave it off. All right. But I've been doing it for many years now. I'm over 1,000 years old. The next word is terrible. Terrible is also an adjective. Terrible means, what do you think it means? You all know what terrible means. Being extremely bold, extremely bad. Nashed. Nashed. I didn't know how to spell that. Gnashed. Now that's a verb in the past tense, meaning it's already happened. And nashed, everybody go like this. That's what that means. The teeth grinding, gnashed. Rumpus. Rumpus is a noun. Rumpus is a noun. And rumpus is basically a noisy commotion, to be noisy, all right? A noisy, but it's the actual event of being noisy, all right? So you could call a party a rumpus. Oh, what a great rumpus. All right. Now, mischief is also a noun. I'm not sure if I said that. Now, the word that was said the most was not mischief. That was only said once. Nashed was said twice. Rumpus was only said once. It's between terrible or wild. And who wins? Wild wins. Yes. Wild was mentioned 11 times, terrible only 8 times. All right, now what I love about where the wild things are, there are some really important things to learn about it. First, don't judge someone or something by his or her appearance, right? Now, Max was judged like he couldn't fit in, but then the wild things were also judged. They looked really mean and terrible, right? But they were actually very kind. They were very nice. They accepted Max. They liked him because he was different. That's how you should be. And number 2, there's a wild thing in all of us. That's right. It's okay. It's important to use your imagination. Because as you get older, sometimes the imagination, you lose that. You always need an imagination. Be creative. The 3rd lesson is there's immense power in imagination. Look at what happened. Look at what happened to his room. He turned into a whole new world. You know, do that. Have fun. Make your own worlds. Create. All right, number 4. There's always time to let loose. There's always time to have a rumpus, have a little fun, right? Sometimes life gets too serious. You should go ahead and dance. Dance once a day. I'm giving you that advice. All right. You know what we do? Right now we're going through a rough time. And at 7 p.m., your time, whatever time you live in, we're all cheering the essential workers at 7 p.m. That's a rumpus. We're making noise, right? That's great. All right. Number 5 is sometimes there's no place like home. You know, you may not like what your parents tell you, but sometimes it's all about that love and comfort that you have at home, right? That's important. Number 6, your parents will always have your back. You see, his mother was angry at him for being wild and naughty, but she gave him his dinner anyway, and it was waiting nice and hot for him. So your parents are your best friends. And number 7, or whoever the adults you live with. And number 7, love. Love with everything you got. You know, the wild things expressed their love when Max was leaving. They didn't know really how to express their love. They said, we'll eat you up. We don't want you to leave. We'll eat you up. And, you know, express that love. It's important. All right? Well, everybody, that concludes it. Toodaloo for now. Toodaloo. Your turn. Toodaloo.